with Beard! Hey, podcast kittens, it's Cathy Cat.
Ladybeard! Coming at you with another lens-cracking installment of Cat with Beard! Lens-cracking, do you like that as an adjective?
I prefer to the one that you said during the Harada interview, which was tooth pulling.
Yeah.
I wasn't quite sure whether the episode with him was quite tooth pulling, but I'm always amazed that you come up with new adjectives.
Thank you. I've been working hard on my adjectives. I think of a big list when we're not to the studio, but then I forget the whole thing when I come in here.
So you thought my lens might be cracking? That's why it's a
Well,
lens.
I was looking down the lens of the camera, just yelling at it, thinking that's how you crack a lens, you yell at it. So
I think you could do that. You've probably cracked my ear a couple of times.
Maybe I can. I'm sorry, Cathy Cat, for cracking your ears. Snap, crackle, pop.
Yep, all of that.
We've got a contentious topic today. Is it contentious?
A difficult topic.
It's definitely a topic that is sensitive.
Ooh.
That can't
So
be.
we just as a little disclaimer, we don't mean to offend anything or anyone.
Anyone. If anyone's upset by anything we say, we apologize in advance.
In the end, we're just a group of foreigners trying to talk about stuff in Japan.
Trying to make sense of this topsy-turvy environment.
We try not to cultural inappropriate, but still give a little bit of knowledge that we might have a little bit about religion in
We're
Japan.
trying to show you the 1, 2, 3. We're talking about God, people. We're talking about faith, spirituality. We're talking about what's going on deep in your soul. Cathy Cat, the Japanese
Okay,
have
you're
very...
popping my ear again. Hold on. What you did? Literally, you just popped my ear again.
Oh, really? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We're talking about religion today, folks.
So,
In Japan, Japanese religion specifically.
one thing that really surprised me coming to Japan right from the start is we went on a trip to Kyoto, and it didn't matter whether it was a shrine or a temple, I was allowed in. And we were going in and out of shrines and temples, and I was still allowed in. And around me, there were tons of tourists, and they were all still allowed in and out of shrines and temples and shrines and temples and the next shrine and the next temple, which kind of surprised me.
Sounds very welcoming.
And I spoke to my friend who is Japanese and brought me all around all the shrines and temples, and she was like, yeah, I'm not religious. But we went to all the shrines and temples, and she did all the praying, and she draw the fortune slips and prayers and all of that. She did that. But she would say she's not religious. And we're going to try and answer that overall question that I had during today's episode.
It is something because when you speak to Japanese people on the topic of religion, most of them will say, I'm not religious. And they will follow up with, most people in Japan are not religious.
Actually, 62% say they are not religious,
62%.
while 31% are part of Buddhism,
What is it?
3% part of Shintoism.
Only 3, which I thought was the main religion of Japan. But only 3% of the nation actually practices.
Only 3%, 1% Christianity, and 1% others.
So, where do we begin? Well, let's kick off with this 62%, this 60% faithless, the atheists, as it were, the no thank you spirituality, but still going to go through all the rituals associated with religious faith.
So if you think about Buddhism, but also Shintoism, they're both polytheism.
Polytheistic.
Yeah, in Germany we call it Vier Götterglaube, which pretty much means many gods belief.
Yeah, it does play, yeah.
You believe in many gods, right? Polytheism, which means that, for example, in Shintoism, the god can be a tree. The god can be, a thing that happened to be there. That gods, it's just like this location where you feel, I think there's something spiritual here, like a deity or a god or a guardian.
God's in the sky, there's a god in the water, there's a god in the trees, the god in the animals, there's a god in the wind. Gods all over the place. Now, there's not just one god, there's many gods. And according to the Shinto faith, in the beginning, there was Izanagi and
Yeah, we're good. Let's focus in a little bit on little by little into that.
Sorry.
But a lot of Japanese people actually do still go to shrines, whether they're not, so we'll still say they're not religious or go to temples. So a lot of people will, for example, there's a bit of a joke that people go to the shrine for a wedding or do like a Western type wedding at a church. But then they will go for a funeral at a Buddhist temple.
Really?
So it's kind of fluid where you go depending on where you gotta go.
Faith fluid. It's interesting,
Kind of situation, yeah. So if you look around in Japan and you see a lot of graves, that's generally around temples. Well, you won't necessarily, or depending on where you are, it's all fluid and can change, but you don't see them so much around shrines. And it's, again, the idea you go for weddings and popular things to shrines, and then you go to funerals, you go to a temple. So you don't have to be part of one or the other to be allowed in or out. It's just people are a little bit more lax, I guess, around religion.
Yes, in that regard, it's welcoming and inclusive.
Very, very. And again, like I was first scared whether it was allowed in. I remember in Europe, when even you're just wearing a tank top, you're not allowed into a church, and there's certain places where you just can't go in at all.
Really?
So it's nice to see that anyone is welcome in. I remember going to Italy to one of those beautiful cathedrals, and they were like pulling all the girls out who had like belly buttons or tops that weren't respectful and stuff.
Really?
That doesn't even happen in Japan. If you walk around with a tank top, you can go to a temple or a shrine and no one actually says something, unless you may be going to actually a depth pray around or something.
I've never exposed my belly button and gone to a temple.
Good.
I think my belly button's best kept covered.
No, we're all thinking about your belly button.
It's a great belly button.
So only 10% of respondents do not go to shrines. 52 go to a shrine every year. 19% go almost every year, and 11% occasionally. 5% about once every 2 years is how many Japanese people go to Hatsumode, which is the first shrine visit of the year, which again is a very important ritual in Japanese culture, where people go to a shrine for the first time and make their prayer for the fresh new year.
You go at dawn on New Year's Day, is that correct?
Some do, but some just, the really religious ones might line up right before 12. But again, the temple, the Buddhist temple, is the one that rings in the bells.
All right.
The bells start ringing at the end of the year and then ring into the new year. That's at the temples. But then people go to shrines for the first prayer.
Yeah, so as you can see, it's a bit of a mixed bag, a bit of a choose-your-own-adventure story when it comes to faith.
Yeah, it sounds
Just
a little
fine,
bit like that.
any way you want to slice it.
I think that is one of the things I actually find very relieving in Japanese culture, is that people don't rub their religion in your face. If they are, they're probably some sort of sect, cult, something, but generally
fanatic.
no one comes up on the streets and tries to sell you their religion, unless it's people that clearly look like they're trying to sell you
unless
their
they're an
religion.
extreme character. Yeah.
But generally it's a live and let live. None of your friends is gonna try and convince you to that their religion is better or worse than yours, that kind of thing. So, but I would be careful, because I know a lot of you guys are thinking of maybe coming over as an English teacher and such. One of the first rules you will have when you get your contract is not to talk about your religion.
Is that right? They put it in the contract?
They put that in many contracts, that you're not allowed to talk about your religion.
Please explain.
I don't know.
Is that due to is that because, missionaries came here in the past and that was a problem with Japanese society or so forth?
I don't know. I just know that is one of the rules that many teaching children in Japan teachers get, that they're not allowed to talk about their religion.
Wow, really?
Yeah, so you just might have to be careful. Again, you don't want to be that person that pushes their religion into other people's faces either, if people don't do that to you, kind of thing.
So sometimes people in Japan will have Western-style weddings, but they're not necessarily, very Christian. They're kind of like a cosplay wedding,
it is like the churches are like little chapels that maybe are financed by the hotel that's next door, so you can do the ceremony there.
Yes.
And I know I used to know someone who said they again knew someone who literally just became a priest for the sake of he looked Western and
There's a lot of that. A lot of, if you come here to do like talento work, like talent work, if you're particularly for slightly older white men, a lot of the jobs are priest jobs. So you're playing a priest at a wedding, and it's an acting job. You have a script, you put on your priest.
You don't have to be baptized
you don't
or
need
any
to have
shenanigans.
anything.
You can literally believe in being a Jedi, and you can still do the job.
I've sung at Japanese weddings.
Like you're full on metal and everything?
Yes. kawaii medal in a Western style wedding. So, in terms of the aesthetic, a Christian wedding, bit of Japanese, aesthetically cathedral. That's not really a cathedral; it's a room in a hotel, and in a skirt singing heavy metal.
Oh, awesome! Sounds like a great wedding. If
Hey, Ladybeard's available for weddings. Hey,
Probably.
book me for your wedding.
yeah, look, book Ladybeard for your wedding.
I should do
apparently.
drive-throughs like Elvis does in Las Vegas. That'd be awesome.
Exactly. Just marry people and then start like headbanging. Sounds like a plan.
So,
So currently, the number of religious corporations in Japan is 179,952,
and
including some independent Shinto shrines. There's a lot of religions.
now let's just be clear here. We
That
have
is
already
more-
said most Japanese people not religious, and yet 178,000 different religious institutions. So how do these two seemingly contradictory facts go together?
Just letting you guys know, by the way, the number of convenience stores in Japan is 56,919, which means we have a lot more religious corporations than convenience stores.
3 times. We have 3 times as many religious institutions as we do convenience
And
stores.
the reason why this is listed together is because a lot of people do it also for not so religious things, maybe too. Also, it's kind of money, kind of might be involved with some of them. Not saying that all
Wait a
of them.
minute.
Let's
You're talking-
okay. Let's cut that part out. Let's cut that part out.
So there's 3 times
convenience
as many religious institutions in the country as there are convenience stores. And there are convenience stores everywhere, my friends.
And
so,
the number of shrines are actually 86,440.
so how could this be in a nation where the majority of the population identifies as non-religious?
Non-religious.
Doesn't make any sense. It's illogical.
I guess it comes maybe together with the believing in many gods kind of theory. But there was a famous person who once said, if you really want to get rich, you start a religion.
Was that the Scientology fella?
Oh, God.
L. Ron Hubbard? Wasn't that him?
I'm not sure. You can proof check that. I don't
reckon
know.
it was.
But I think another reason also why a lot of Japanese people say, I am not religious openly, is because of what happened, I think, in 1995, where one of the sects did the terrorist attack on the subway. So a lot of the image of religion as such kind of got really, really down because of that. And I think that still has effects nowadays, that some people don't feel like they openly can say, I am part of a religion, because A, there's negative stigma, and there's also the Japanese sense of, if you say I am this or that, you have to actually really know what you're talking about and not just go in once a year to make one prayer.
Is that right? So if you're going to say I'm Christian, you got to know all about the Bible. You got to know all about the scriptures. You can't just be casually Christian.
I don't know.
Can't go to church on Christmas and Easter.
I
That's
don't know.
unacceptable.
No,
You got to be
you gotta-
Shinto. You got to know 100% all the things. This terror attack was a horrible incident. The poison gas was pumped out into one of the subways. Lots of people died. That was performed by a religious sect. You could listen.
sect.
It's you might refer to it. You could arguably describe it as a cult. More than a religion. Well, I guess they were religious, but more than a religious institution, more than a church. A bunch of people who got together, had some extreme beliefs, and did some crazy thingamajigs.
That might have probably changed some people's perception of whether they want to officially say they are this or that.
In the Japanese zeitgeist, it seems that religion and cults got all intertwined. So, therefore, a lot of people don't want to say I am religious in any way, because that could easily be interpreted as I'm in a crazy kill everybody cult.
That was a random scary sound just
I was going to
now.
say.
Thanks for
yeah.
breaking the tension a little
Yeah.
bit up here. That was good. That was good. Okay, let's go to shrines.
Let's go to the shrine. Talk to me, Cathy Cat, about the shrine.
Quick question. That is one of the questions that it doesn't always approach, but sometimes a struggle. How can you tell, is it a temple or is it a shrine?
Firstly, please explain the difference.
Well, the one is Buddhism and one is Shintoism.
Okay, cool.
So Buddhism, temple, shrine, Shintoism. So you're in front of building A, and you're not quite sure if this is a temple or a shrine.
Well, I guess if it's a shrine, if it's Shinto, then you're going to have the big old red archways, and you're going to have to ring the bell to wake up the god, yeah?
That's pretty good. Like if you don't make it all the way in to see if there's a bell or not, some of them have put the bells away since COVID because people had to touch it and stuff.
All right.
And some don't have them in the first place. But the big red gates is a very good indication that this is probably a shrine.
Yep, that's something typical of the Shinto shrines. Big old red gates at the front. What are they called? Got them written down notes upon
They're
them.
called tori.
Tori, there we are. Thank you very
So
much.
that if you're not quite sure if it's a temple or a shrine and you can't find a name plaque, first look if there's a big red gate. Sometimes you might already have walked past it. Sometimes it might have just been a sign on the road and you might have missed it. But generally, if you're not quite sure, if you see a red gate, you know that's
Giant
probably
red
a shrine.
archway. And if you're going to go in, you're supposed to stop at that archway, bow once before you enter.
Yep. That, however, can sometimes get a little bit confusing because, again, those religions, they don't really fight each other. Like in some other countries, it might seen as why can they be on the same plot of land, but there can be a temple right next to a shrine or a shrine within a temple premise. It's not like I haven't seen that. So it is not as strictly divided as it might feel right to some of the listeners. It is very live and let live kind of thing.
And again, you can go in there, you can do everybody's rituals and then say, I'm atheist. So
You can. And what I find interesting is that, for example, in Shintoism, you have like a certain way how you pray. It's a little bit different than, again, in Buddhism, but people don't judge you if you get it wrong because sometimes even Japanese people get it wrong.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So, shrine. Shinto shrines worship indigenous Japanese deities. It can be anything. So,
And
yeah.
the fox.
So deities that were in the land, things, mountains, anything. So if you feel something is
land.
there, people might have built a shrine for it. So Izanami and Izanagi were like the two gods that created everything. Created the islands of Awaji in Hyogo Prefecture in the beginning, and then created the Japanese archipelago, apparently. And then the goddess Amaterasu, the sun god, is considered to be the originator of all gods living in Japan.
You nailed that pronunciation. That was very good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's very impressive.
So it's said that the descendants of these gods married human beings and their lineage is connected to that and the emperor and such. So that's just a little brief, tiny little brief sentence about Shintoism. If you're curious about it, you might
Sure,
want
there's more
look it
to
up
be
more.
known.
Exactly. There's more, but like just very generally going at it. But what I find interesting is the shrine for Amaterasu, for the sun god, is in Mie Prefecture. It's called Isejingo, and it's like one of the most important shrines, or the most important shrine of Japan. And people who come from Mie, like for example, the director of Ask Japanese, are very proud that this shrine is there.
Oh, really?
There's a lot of like, a lot of people will insist of going to that shrine for their New Year's prayers
Really?
and such, because it is the shrine of Japan.
It's the shrine.
And if you think about it, it's the sun god, right?
Yeah.
And Japan is the land of the rising sun.
Okay.
There's a lot of things that make it very important to
Hang
a lot
on,
of
this
people.
is the one in Mie. This is not
That's
the
the
one
one in
down on
Mie.
Hyogo on the
And
island.
that's the one in Mie, yeah.
So, how do you become a Shinto god?
You can be a mountain, an animal, or a tree, or something special that people felt something special by. There is a shrine, for example, called Kinomia Shrine. It's if you go all the way with the Shinkansen to, what is it called again? Atami. If you go to Atami, there's a shrine, for example, it's called Kinomiya Jinja, and it literally has this wonderful old tree that is just magical. Like, sometimes when you see a tree and you're like, wow. And I guess that's probably what some people felt when they saw that tree, and they're like, wow, I think this tree is special. I think this tree has survived a lot of centuries and is wiser than we are. So they build a shrine for that. And I guess that maybe to bring it closer to people who don't quite understand it, that's maybe how it makes it a little bit easier to comprehend what people maybe believe that there might be a deity or something special in that tree and build a shrine around it.
I was down in Shikoku, and there's a shrine that has a very, very old tree, and if you can hold your breath and run around the tree 3 times, you get your wish granted.
Did you try?
I tried and I failed. It's a hefty run.
It's a very
I
big
was like,
tree.
this will be fine. Nah, it's a big old tree. That's a long time to hold your breath.
There's a lot of different shrines around that where you have like to do a certain thing. Like, for example, in Kinomiya Shrine, you're supposed to just go around actually and just think of your wish. It doesn't say that it's definitely going to get granted or not, but you're supposed to just go around and think of your wish and such.
Okay, so
I've been actually to one of the most, I think I have a tag somewhere on my bag actually. I've been to a shrine that was literally dedicated to the sweet potato.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh well, that's a delicious.
The sweet
Vegetable?
potato. And why? Because there was a famine and a lot of people in Japan weren't having enough food. So the sweet potato came over from China.
Oh really?
And it saved a lot of lives. So
Is
the
that
sweet
right?
potato is a symbol of, perseverance and stamina, having lots of kids, being able to survive.
Really?
So the sweet potato, and I still have that tag on my bag, the sweet potato is literally on my little protection tag saying,
Is that part of the reason why we eat them in wintertime? Where they go around with the sweet potato car and you buy your sweet potatoes?
I have no
Sell them
idea.
at the convenience store.
I
and
think they're
whatnot?
just tasty. It's just
They
one
are
of
also
the winter
tasty,
foods. I mean,
that's
they're
true.
air in
Nice
season
and
then,
warm.
like a lot of things.
Ah,
So
okay, fair
I
enough,
assume
very
that's
good.
probably the season to have sweet potato.
You could
on
become
China.
a Shinto god by being a very great man from a long old time ago. For instance, there's the Nikko Toshigu Shrine in Tochigi, and that's what that's all about. That's dedicated to old Tokugawa Ieyasu, who was the shogun of the Edo period.
I mean, there's a lot of shrines that are towards the things that people generally want, right? There's shrines that gear towards success, shrines that gear toward fertility, shrines that gear towards health and such. So think of the
Mount
things that
Fuji.
people have human needs for exactly that they will then try to pray for, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever been surprised by Shinto shrines or Japanese gods?
The Fertility Festival is something. We'll let you guys look up the Japanese Fertility Festival on your own.
Oh
We won't
yeah,
go
that
into
one is
details
so
now.
popular on YouTube
Everyone
that I
loves
don't
talking
even
about that.
bother making a YouTube video about it because
Yes.
everyone's done it. The
Plenty.
foreigners love that Fertility
Plenty
Festival.
to be seen there, so
Oh,
you can
wow.
have a look at that. That's a bit something.
Yes. So let's go a little bit about shrine etiquette because you guys will definitely enter a shrine.
Yes,
You
it's almost
will.
unavoidable,
and
actually.
Because your Japanese friends are going to bring you there. And again, you don't have to feel uncomfortable. It is a free space. You're safe and you're allowed to be there. So, first thing you see the big red gate.
Yep, there it is.
Wow, it's
Bah.
beautiful. Woo!
Awesome.
All right. So, a lot of people just walk in. If you want to be super, super good, then you bow before you walk in.
That's correct.
I'm never quite sure if there's several torii gates, though how often you're supposed to bow. If you go to the Fushimi Inari Shrine in Kyoto with all the many gates, you don't have to bow every time.
Well, that's
You just do it at the
efficient, isn't it?
entrance.
That's very efficient then.
Yes.
Yeah, that is confusing because a lot of Japanese people also don't know how much you're supposed to bow. They go through the gate and they go back again and bow. And then,
A lot of people I've seen do that.
Yeah.
And then you just go through the shrine premises and then they'll come there's usually a main shrine and side shrines. It's kind of confusing. Sometimes you just follow what everyone else is doing. When in Japan, do as all the people around you do.
that policy can get you through quite a lot of situations in Japan. Just do what everyone else is doing. It's a culture for that, isn't it?
Usually
like
there is a
standing out
little,
that
you
much.
will reach a thing that has a roof. Generally a roof, and there will be a little offering box there. So you arrive at that offering box. Generally you select out of your pocket, you select a 5 yen piece. 5 yen, go-en, is a play on words meaning like
Luck.
good meetings, luck, blessing. En is usually to connect or to meet. If I'm saying that right, please keep listening to us. Yes, please listen to us. Takahashi, yes, thank you. Okay, please correct us if we're wrong. But yeah, generally all my friends keep saying, always have a 5 yen piece on you. And ideally, it should be a nice 5 yen piece. So if it's like the grubbiest, darkest thing that you just pull out of your wallet, you don't really want to offer that to the gods. Just make it at least a kind of nice looking piece is a good idea. Yeah, it
Okay.
shouldn't be the worst 5 yen piece in your wallet. It should be the nicer looking one if you have one.
If you have a nicer 5 yen.
If you have a nice
5 yen
piece.
is it's not a lot of money.
It's not a lot, and I
3
actually
US
heard a
cents?
rumor that a lot of the shrines are struggling a little bit because of the inflation and everything.
Really?
5 yen is really not that much.
5 yen's not cutting the mustard.
It's, yeah, so if you, a lot of people are also doing now 15.
Right.
So 10 and 5 meaning jubun goen. So a lot of the luck from the 5.
Yeah, so maybe next time throw your nice 5 yen and throw your dirty 5 yen too. I'm sure the shrine will be grateful. All right, so you head on in. Now, once you head on in, it's very important you wash your hands on the way in.
If you can, yeah. If sometimes they have put it away because of COVID. It used to be there's like a little thing on a stick.
They're like bamboo scoops.
Yeah, they're like bamboo scoops things. They're really nice, but it's, like I
lovely.
said, they moved them away a lot during COVID, so you might not find it. Sometimes the water is even stopped. Sometimes they now recently just started the water, so there's this little bit of water that you can go and wash your hands with. There's usually actually a system to it. If you have that stick, okay, so here's the stick. I'm going to try it. You first hold it, and you scoop it with your right hand, and then you move the water into your left hand. Then you move the water into your right hand. Then usually some people actually put it in their mouth.
Yeah, you're meant to wash your mouth.
You put to cleanse out your mouth. But a lot of people don't do it. They just pretend that they do. So left hand, right hand, mouth. And then you use that wooden stick and you tilt it upwards. So the rest of the water that is rinses down the stem to cleanse again the stick for the next person to come.
You're very good at this. She's very good at this. You're very good at this. You've done well.
I hope I explained that right to everyone. So, but this is a
Yeah, but we
really
recommend
nice
you do it with a
routine.
Japanese person because.
But yeah,
we're
I've
not
done it a
experts.
couple of times for for YouTube videos and stuff as well. And it is a nice cleansing ritual. You're like,
It is,
okay,
it's
now
lovely.
I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna
actually is
experience these
lovely.
beautiful environments,
Actually,
right?
is lovely. That's right. All right. So
All right,
once you're
so
clean, you can head on in.
You walk all the way in and you see something with a roof, and there will be a little box for offering.
look
You have
beautiful.
your 5 yen ready. You're ready with your 5 yen. If there is a big rope with some bells attached on the top, that would be a good way to start.
You
Right.
ring the bell, and this wakes up the deity who lives at the shrine, and that way you can tell them what's going on.
Then you give the money into the box, 5 yen. Go in, good luck. And then at a shrine, it is 2 bows, 2 claps, and a bow.
So there's a specific ritual you have to go through of your bow to the deity.
So 1, 2, and then you clap. And then you make your prayer after you clapped. And once you're done with your prayer, you thank one more time with a bow.
And your bow, you got to hold it 90 degrees for a little bit, and then come back up.
Yes.
We used to do that before wrestling matches. Everyone would get around the ring, and we'd ask that no one get injured in the show.
Right.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, it's like also a sign of respect and probably to the deity that is residing in the ring, so you
That's
guys
right.
don't get injured and stuff like that. So that makes sense. That totally makes sense. Any kind of memorable shrines that you have encountered here in Japan?
At the start of the year, this year actually. So, this is my first year in Japan post COVID-19, starting the year with a kind of a more traditional style Japanese company. So my old company didn't do this, but my new company on the start of the new year, the first work day of the year, we all had to go to the shrine.
Oh,
So it was all the artists in the company and the boss and so forth. We had to go in, wash our hands and everything. And then we had to,
like as a group with everyone?
with the group, with everyone who could come, that's right.
Okay, good.
And we had to, pray for prosperity and so forth in the new year. We had to do some fortune telling. Had to get the piece of paper with the fortune telling.
All right, can you explain that? Is in omikuji, those are little fortune telling slips. Usually, what I've seen, or what you will see a lot, is like a kind of octagon box that has a lot of things that look like very thin chopsticks in it. They shake it, and then one of those sticks will poke out of the hole of the box. You pull it out; it has a number on. That number then is connected to one of the fortune slips, and then they pull out the fortune slip and give it to you, and you're supposed to read it.
And then you stick it on the tree, don't you? You stick it on the hanger.
It depends on. If you, for example, there's different levels of luck you can have. Big luck, medium luck, normal luck, less luck, not so good luck, and then there's the worst one, Kyo, I think it's called. That's when it's just, that's the worst of all. But hey, there's always improvement. That's the one that has the most way to improvement because you're already at the
Good
bottom.
point. Doesn't get worse than that.
I heard someone once say, you never really draw Kyo until I got it. And it was literally in my worst year in Japan so far. So it kind of matched the whole set.
Oh, it's horrible.
It's shocking.
You poor woman.
And actually, so ever since then, I'm a bit worried about drawing fortune slips in Japan.
Oh, fair enough.
But those fortune slips, if they are good, you're welcome to carry them with you. So you can put them in your wallet as a little luck charm.
I see.
If they're bad, you should tie them to the tree with a wish of things to get better.
Oh, I see.
But sometimes people who have a good one also tie it to the tree because they just don't want to carry it home and just want to leave it in that area as well. They don't know how you're going to throw that away kind of thing. So
yeah, it's, might not be considered ideal to throw away a sacred bit of paper.
Exactly. There's also actually mentioning that in case you guys collect a lot of amulets and stuff, a lot of shrines that have a lot of little talismans called omamori. They have that in the name. They're supposed to protect you, those little talismans, and people have them in their wallets. They have them on their bags.
I used to have one on my backpack.
Yeah, and it's like if you get that as a gift from a Japanese person, it looks really nice. They might have it with your Chinese horoscope animal on it or such like that. There is a belief, though, in Japan, you might not have to do that. Some people say, oh, no, it's fine, you don't have to do it if you just come as a tourist. But after a year, if you're in Japan, you're supposed to actually return them to the shrine and get yourself a new one.
Man, I haven't been doing that.
So for New Year's, a lot of people buy themselves a brand fresh new protection charm for that year. And when you go, since you were talking about throwing it away, there's usually a big box where you can throw those old fortune slips and house protections and all those things that are connected to a shrine. You could throw them in, and then they have a big holy fire to dispose of it in case you don't know what to do with them.
And that's more or less the conclusion of your shrine experience, isn't it?
I mean, you go in, you do a prayer, you buy yourself something to protect you, your house, or friends. A lot of people buy those amulets as well as friends for like luck, success in school, or getting good grades, or finding a lover. There's a lot of that. We've done a lot of really nice YouTube videos on that.
My massage lady gave me one for the sake of keeping my body healthy and so forth.
That, for example, a nice gesture. You buy that with that kind of wish for another person. So again, if you get one of them from a Japanese friend, don't be freaked out. They're not trying to get you into their religion. It's just a nice gesture of, I want you to be safe, healthy, protected, and such.
Do you have a memorable shrine incident?
There's so many wonderful shrines I had the chance to go in Japan. We filmed a couple of them.
Great.
And we've tried a lot. Okay. Coming back to that year when things were really terrible for me in Japan when I got that. On that same, literally during the shoot said I need to go and I need to cleanse my spirit because I'm having the worst year ever. So we went to different shrines and different temples to pray for good luck and such. And one of the spirit techniques we did, there was a ceramic plate, and you're supposed to breathe on the ceramic plate to all your bad things. Think of all your bad things and you breathe them out into the plate, and there's a holy stone. And you go and you smash that plate on that holy stone. You smash it. Like, you go there.
That sounds rad.
Everywhere is like smash plates everywhere because they're like very brittly made. So they smash really, it feels great to see them smash. I did that together with another talent, Asonatsuko, and she breathed on it and she smashed it. It looked beautiful.
Really?
Right. So my turn. I'm like, I need to do this. I need to get all the bad out on that plate. So breathed on that plate. The shrine priest was there. We have this in slow motion on YouTube. And I'm throwing it, and it hits the stone and just bounces back.
Oh, no!
And even no one on that set did not laugh at that moment because no one had seen that it wouldn't even
Cathy
bounce.
Cat.
It's like,
where
was there? So the shrine priest was very nice. He said, God is very forgiving and caring. You try again. So I tried a second time, and it did actually smash.
That time.
So yeah, things got better from there onwards.
Poor Cathy Cat, your cure year, you couldn't even smash a brittle plate.
It was a terrible year, but yeah,
woman.
Mentioning that there is also in Japan there's said to be lucky years and unlucky years. So if you go into a shrine, there will be a lot of like when you're born, and there'll be a list and stuff. And a lot of people, if it is their unlucky year, there are certain special shrine rituals that you can do to ward off the bad mojo that you might be having in a year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a lot of little things, but again, everything is kept very peaceful and nicely. So you went with your company.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
Did you know that in Kyoto there is a shrine that most people in the entertainment industry know?
Oh, really?
Yes.
Tell me more.
I got this told by a senpai at NHK, and she is very big up there, and she said, oh, if you're going to Kyoto, you should go to that shrine.
Okay.
It's called Kurumazaki Jinja.
Oh, I've heard of this.
Yep. If you go to that shrine, on the left and the right, there will be big red wooden plaques with famous people's names.
Oh, no way.
Because this is where kind of the deity of people who work in the entertainment industry resides.
I see.
So people can pay around, I think, 1,000,000 yen, around that price, to have their name on one of those plaques and have it displayed. And some fans will just come to take pictures of their favorite idol being there, or their favorite reporter being there, or
That's
favorite...
good.
Even the One Piece crew has their names on those
Really?
plaques.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
that's
on there
hilarious.
as well, I think, connected to some other entertainment thing.
That's
it's
brilliant. I
actually
gotta
have
go
that.
to this. What's it called again?
Kurumazaki Jinja.
I need to go there. Sounds like a good place.
A lot of people, actually, if you guys happen to go to Kyoto to Kurumazaki Jinja, there is one plaque of Cathy Cat there.
Hey, is there?
Yes, I started doing
right.
it once. I thought, hey, this, there's a lot of other famous people who've doing really well. That's one of the shrines. If I go to Kyoto, I will make sure to visit. To find my name and find where the plaque has wandered, because if you extend it, it moves somewhere else.
Yeah.
And to do my prayer there and hope that I'll do well in the entertainment industry from now
You're
on.
doing a great job in the entertainment industry, Cathy Cat.
Thank you. You too, Ladybeard.
Thank you, sweetheart.
What are your socials, Ladybeard?
At Ladybeard_Japan, my group at Babybeard_Japan, Japan Railway Journals, at Cathy Cat_TV, and at Cat with Beard. From Japan?
From Japan.
From Japan, at Cat with Beard from Japan. You should write us a comment. Let us know what you'd like to hear us discuss.
Yes,
on the
please
show.
leave us comments on the YouTube channel that we have, and then you'll also be able to see our beautiful faces. Oh my gosh, check them out.
Cathy Cat was actually her Instagram handle, not mine, because she is Cathy Cat.
Just making 100% sure in case
She's
you guys
on
don't
Twitch.
know by this
She's
episode.
on Twitch as well.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And hold on, and Cat
interrupted.
with Beard has a Twitter too, so where you actually get updates. So if you're not quite sure when the next cool episode comes out, then also check out our Twitter. Did I say Twitch? I meant Twitter.
Well, the next slightly silly episode too.
Yeah, and be sure to literally leave us a nice comment on this YouTube video and let us know what you thought about this. Did we bamboozle your mind? Did we pull your teeth?
Yeah, I feel I understand Japanese religion less now than I did at the start of the episode.
I mean, we focused a lot on mostly Shintoism, which is one that I think a lot of foreigners will enjoy a lot. I mean, if you go to Kyoto, there's literally this Fushimi Inari shrine that has hundreds and hundreds of those wonderful archways that people walk through.
Those things are very beautiful.
Looks beautiful in
Lovely.
pictures, absolutely magical, and it's one of those places where you go like, wow. And I think a lot of people with Shintoism came to a place and they felt something, they went, wow, and possibly decided to maybe build a shrine there.
Maybe you will too.
So,
We'll see you next time.
for another wonderful, mind-blowing episode of
Cat
with Beard.
Beard. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.